What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Raven Die Black back with not a reaction video, more of a we'll say a small rant. Um, it's been brought to my attention, Mr. Daniel Faalele has been traded. Well, there's different ways to looking at it. Well, are we surprised? No, we're not. I'm not, at least. Um, but as a very diehard Ravens fan, it's very interesting how he's been traded. What? Not even a preseason game in. Well, he was a Ravens starter for 2 years with Lamar. Two-time MVP, by the way, in case we forgot that part. Ironically, he was traded in preseason. He didn't even have a spot in the team yet, right? Because we released him shortly after Jesse Minter was hired. The rest is history. From what I've seen so far, the Ravens are doing just fine. We clearly see an upgrade in the offensive line. We have some injuries, especially to our center right now. Hopefully, everything clears out. So, hope for the best, right? But I just can't really help but think, and it's just not with Falele I have an issue with. I do have a thorough issue with John Harbaugh, and some of the moves during his tenure with us as Ravens fans. We've all witnessed it since Lamar was drafted. Okay. I was there that night when he was drafted. I remember when we traded up to get him from Louisville. Mind you, fresh off of a Heisman Trophy. I don't know if it was that year or the year prior, but he was a Heisman Trophy gardener. Okay, garnered that prestigious reward award. Low key, like a lot of the Heisman Trophy winners don't exactly pan out in the NFL. So I got the the subtleness, with not drafting the quarterback, especially with Lamar, his playing style. A lot of those quarterbacks just tend to not last too long in the league. All right. The closest version to that did last that time amount of time would be maybe Mike Vick, but his style changed once after his situation legally. Um, his entire game plan, his entire style of play changed when he went to Philadelphia, right? And it worked out for him. I'm really happy for him. He did the best you could do in Philly for what was going on with him at that time with Andy Reid. It was what it was. But they doubted Lamar out of high school and out of college, and he still made it to the league. Actually, no, I'm not gonna say they doubted him out of high school, but I can assure you the skills that he showcased in high school, they were probably thinking he was gonna be literally a receiver. I mean, he would not be the first to convert from a quarterback to a receiver. I forgot his name prior. He was from Ohio State. I don't know if he won to try the Heisman, but I know that he was a highly decorated player out of Ohio State, right? Terrell Pryor, yes. So it's not unfamiliar for a quarterback, for even if he's pretty good in college, that he doesn't look into changing positions. Hell, Charlie Ward, one of the better quarterbacks we've ever seen out of Florida State, left football and played basketball for the Houston Rockets. So we know the doubt is real and was real, and it's still kind of low key real amongst a lot of analysts on ESPN. But nonetheless, they're gonna always find a reason to hate. So that's not for discussion. But what this is now, this here is just an observation as a Ravens fan. In my opinion, is it a coincidence that Falele has been traded? Not really. But I will say this: it's very interesting how a 2 year starter got cut in preseason. Mind you, a lot of reasons why Lamar was running for his life, because our online was simply trash, right? And a lot of the reasons why it was trash and hot garbage was because the prior administration, whether it was Greg Roman running the offense or uh, Todd Monken running the offense, it all seems to be underneath John Harbaugh's eye, his watch. He's overseeing all this, right? He is the head coach, right? 2012 world champion Baltimore Ravens head coach. Same coach is with the Giants after he got fired out of Baltimore, right? Was it 18 years? 18 years. But even Steve Bisciotti, the owner of the Ravens, when asked, if we had made that field goal at the end of the season last year versus Steelers, would John Harbs still have a job? And he said, yeah, he would have a job for that game. Essentially, paraphrasing, right? Even if he went all the way to the Super Bowl, basically saying we were going to go part ways regardless, right? I advise you go and listen to that interview with him. It's A1. Man, I didn't even know our owner was that badass. Fast forward now, we're taking baby steps to this topic. We're really gonna get down to it now, all right? It's been brought to my attention since this trade to Faalele being traded off. It seems as though there is a lot of hatred being thrown at John, but just hear me out. I can completely get it. I'm the type of man that doesn't believe in coincidences too much. I don't believe in mistakes after a while, So I just find it weird that with all the criticism, all the issues in the playoffs, doubting if Lamar can actually play football. Well, the doubt comes from the playoff losses and the way we've lost in the past, 8 years. And John Harbaugh has been ahead front of all of that. Yeah, he got away with it because, we traded to get Lamar. Talks about he wanted to be the GOAT, all that. But yet, you give him offensive linemen that aren't comparable. Like, people are steady talking about Lemon Ball and us letting him go to Oakland. He's all right. We're just not going to pay a $50 million contract to a lineman. Okay? How are you going to afford Lamar? As if he signed an extension yet. You just gave $109 million to Zay Flowers. You gave a $100 million contract to Kyle Hamilton. You couldn't afford a $50 million lineman who's wishy-washy. Mind you, he's a part of that same offensive line that was with Faalele and Voorhees. So you guys are acting and sounding kind of desperate at this point. Not letting go that a center, you can get a better center than what we've had the last 8 years. Yeah, he's the best in the market. And what has that done for Lamar exactly? That's all I want to know. Because it seems as though when he and Faalele and these guys are together, Lamar, half the highlights is him just running away out of terror. It's not because, he's just a great player. We know that he's a great player. The consensus is Faalele getting traded just sounds like John did not really have Lamar's best interests at heart. And yes, he helped us with a Super Bowl. I don't think he's the reason why, because you got guys like Ray Lewis saying, hey, if your coach or guys like Ray Lewis or Anquan Bolden, guys like have played with the Ravens, saying, hey, if your coach has to coach your team, you're not going anywhere. So who's really responsible for that one Super Bowl that my guy John Harbaugh has? It's not really him. The players are saying you had nothing to do with it. You were just not in the way. Okay? So now this trade basically says not only did it's either going to be maybe two ways this can go. Either he really just didn't care too much about Lamar after a while, or he just was too arrogant to change. Because I won a Super Bowl. This is how we do it. You came on the back end. And mind you, after that Super Bowl, there were a lot of really bad years after that. Okay? When Joe Flacco got his money, what happened to the Ravens? We may maybe one AFC championship game. We couldn't even we were struggling in the playoffs. We couldn't do anything with Flacco after that 2012 run. It just was. That's why when he finally, and I mean, let's be honest, when he got injured and Lamar took over, we saw hope. We just didn't know the hope that we had was going to be low key sabotaged by the guy who made the decision to not only trade to get him, but put him in. Nobody saw this happening. I didn't see it. It's depressing to see it. And now this trade just means that and hey, even let's just say you want to say it's a mistake. It's a pretty glaring mistake, don't you think? How do you justify this, John? That's all I'm saying. I don't want to rant too long, but I can see why people are a little irritated. And quite frankly, I am too. You did sabotage that man, in my opinion. You did. And we all know it. But at this point, you reap what you sow, John. You know, there's not much to say. I do hope Jesse Minter does do his justice and helps Lamar and gets him his first Super Bowl, a deserving Super Bowl. And so all this narrative that he can't win the big game ends. It would be great if it happened this year because it would just be the topping on the perfect mango key lime pie. Anybody that knows me outside of this damn YouTube space knows I love me some key lime pie or some mango pie. But I guess that's all I have to say today, man. Like, you sabotaged him. We know you did. We out here. We see that he's as happy as he's ever been. Thank you though, John. You taught us that hey, we have exes and exes stay exited for a reason. But hey, that's my rant for today, man. Hey, thank you guys again for joining me for this. It's your boy Raven Die Black. Shout out to everybody that came through and showed me some love on my comment section, gave me some advice on how to get my videos better. Always interested in new ideas. Hit me up, man. Thank you again. Peace.